Alright, we will start here pretty soon, and we'll see how long my voice holds out for this. Oh, man. I got no idea. I have a lot of stuff queued up here. And I honestly do not know if I'm going to get through all of it. Alright. So, here we go. Once again, I am going to do a quick look at some pay-what-you-want or free role-playing games and role-playing game accessories available through DrivethruRPG. And as always, I will put links in chat, and I will put them in a comment below afterwards for those who are interested. People seem to like these ones, and I don't mind doing the live stream from time to time. I'd like to do it every 2 to 3 weeks because it's about how long it takes me to get everything done. If you'd like to see me live stream more, let me know later. But right now, we're just getting started. I have selected, let's see how many I've selected. And bear with me, my voice still hasn't recovered entirely, so do bear with me. Let's see how many I have prepared for this week. Like, wow, okay, like clearly about 20 or so. And I'm not sure I'm going to get through all these. I got a good mix. I've got some from Pathfinder. I've got some from 5th edition. I've got a fair amount of OSR stuff. It's kind of all mixed in together. I've already previewed most of the stuff that I'm going to show here just to make sure that the artwork isn't going to get me in trouble with YouTube. But I have not picked. I've not looked through some of them, so who knows? Who knows? You know how fantasy artwork goes. I will probably be taking my glasses off for a fair amount of this because I am having difficulty seeing today. So we'll start with something called How to Cook a Dragon. Enhanced cooking rules and effects for the Pathfinder role-playing game system from Wolfenrat Games. This is a pay-what-you-want title. And it introduces cooking rules and I believe a new effect for Pathfinder. I thought this was interesting looking when I saw it, so I figured, hey, why not? And I think I saw this a couple of weeks ago. I'm not entirely sure when it was released. It was a couple of weeks ago. So let's take a look at it. I mean, this is just a brief look. This isn't an in-depth, hard look at things. Thank you for the few that are joining me live. I know I usually get a fair number of people looking at these later on, and you'll have to excuse my voice. I haven't fully recovered my voice, so we'll see how long this lasts. Right. Aside from this, really, what is he cooking? A Murloc? Is this a World of Warcraft based artwork? Yeah, there's got to be a World of Warcraft based artwork. This is created by Sean Borelli of Wolfenrat Games. I like the artwork selections. I do like the artwork selections. Thank you kindly for joining me. So yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Introducing you to enhanced cooking rules. The additional features contained herein are presented in such a way as it can be quickly and easily incorporated. This is basically a plug-in. This looks like it should. Here. I'm gonna pause here. This says it is for Pathfinder role-playing game. So it includes a new status, basically. Pathfinder is really heavy. I don't know that. I know a number of my viewers watch or have played Pathfinder. Pathfinder has a number of status and conditions, and they're generally very formalized. So this is basically what nourished means, and I guess it's a status effect. +1 circumstances on fort saves. Circumstance bonus, I believe, stacks with almost any other bonus, pretty much, except I'm not sure how it stacks with other circumstance bonuses. I think that's a weird one, because sometimes, I know in 3.5, circumstance bonuses sometimes actually stacked with each other, but not all the time. And I don't know how it is in Pathfinder. So they may run as if you had the run feat. I don't know. If I was well nourished, I wouldn't exactly feel like running. Any effect that would cause a character to become fatigued or nauseated ends the nourished condition. So if you feel sick, you get to throw up or whatever. Duration 1 hour unless specified. Okay. So this is basically new crafting rules. I kind of like this so far. You get the nourished effect. You get basic rules for using Profession Cook with the following content. So that's all in line with Pathfinder so far. I love the artwork selections on these. They're almost all orcs so far. Profession Cook Steel is a skill. An expanded profession skill for Pathfinder. These DCs look very much in line with what's already present for a lot of Pathfinder stuff. It's all very generic Pathfinder stuff so far. New qualities for rooms, I guess. The minimum preparation area needed. Spice quality required. So you if you wanted to incorporate these rules, you'd have to incorporate all of the material in here as well. This gives you the rundown on things you can include. An example of a legendary ingredient would be something like a dragon's egg, a phoenix in worm form, or the still beating heart of a mature dragon. Yeah, I guess those are legendary. And that can give you permanent bonuses. Nice. Not sure how that fits in with the Pathfinder stuff, because they're usually not all in on that, but I guess it could be workable. Gives you rules for scrounging things from the wild. And I think that is in line with the foraging rules in Pathfinder. I don't know if it was called the Wilderness Handbook. It had to have been called something else. Let me look at my list of Pathfinder material, because I know there was one that gave foraging rules, like an already enhanced foraging rules. So I'm gonna, and it was an official release. And I know Pathfinder stuff isn't exactly the greatest draw for a lot of people. I know a lot of people look for my OSR stuff. I got plenty of OSR stuff to discuss, but we'll take. I'm curious now. I'm curious as to how that stacks up with the enhanced foraging rules. And now it's on the top of my head, and I want to know if I'm thinking of this right. Ultimate Wilderness, that's what it was called. I don't know why that slipped my mind. There's only like 3 different title things that Pathfinder already uses. So yeah, I'm presuming that these would be in line with the harvesting rules from that thing. And I will go quick through. We're almost done here. I'll get a couple more pages in, and then we'll breeze through it, because I've got a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, these are all. It gives you different qualities for things you harvest in the wild. Different cooking tool qualities. I want to say though that these are beginning to diverge from the usual Pathfinder stuff, because they don't usually use like percentile results in Pathfinder, even for quality. Area of preparation effects. So this is all stuff that stacks on to a system. So you get like a quality of the ingredients, quality of the preparation area, and then I'm presuming quality of the actual recipe. You get different tiers of meals and benefits. So you got a quality of a meal that's apart from the recipe. And fancy meals and above give you bonuses for an hour or 2 hours. I know one of my players would love a system like this. Alchemist archetype, the gastronomist. Actually, that brings me to another thing, because I have something else I wanted to cover. And I think, yeah, the gastronomist. Yeah, the gastronomist is available separately. And here, I'm going to put these links in the chat. I had thought they were completely different, but apparently if you don't want to use the rules from How to Cook a Dragon, you can get just the archetype separately, and they are both pay what you want. I actually do like that kind of modular build. Here, let me post the rules in chat, or the links in chat. And these are all affiliate links, I think. No, they're not. No, they're not. I didn't post affiliate links. I should, but here's the links thus far. Here's the first one. And that is a pay what you want. That's for the overall thing. Because I know people watch this later on with the chat. And that's the link for the standalone Gastronomist. Let's just take a look at this, our Alchemist archetype. Alchemist archetypes are a mixed bag with me. Alchemist is actually one of my favorite classes from Pathfinder. I have played... I actually usually play like the Chirurgeon, which is a healer type alchemist. And they're very, very poor quality healers in terms of comparison with magical healers, but I really enjoy their overall feel. It's something that I find amusing, so I usually play them. At least when I can't play a Mesmerist type class. So let's see. Applied chemistry. It alters alchemy. And you can attempt profession cook instead of craft alchemy. Okay, so you can be an alchemist except without the alchemy stuff. Okay, whatever. I guess it's thematic. Diverse infusions. Instead of throwing various alchemical concoctions, so you don't get throw anything. You get new extracts from the arcane spell list. So basically you can use arcane buffs instead of throwing stuff. So it turns it into a buffing class. That's cool. A buffing class in which you have to have a lot of preparation beforehand, I'm presuming, because it's all focusing around food. So this is a class that you would play if you wanted to basically spend like 2 hours before the play session making food for your group, and then sitting the combat in the back row. Just sitting there with a crossbow in the back row. Everybody looks at you to try and chip in, and you're like, I did already. I cooked lunch for you guys. What do you want? It's not an overpowered thing. I like how it's thematic rather than overpowered. I really like that. And then they give you example recipes, and these are all about what you'd expect: the DC, the recipe type, and the effects. This is nothing new. This is just pretty standard crafting stuff. Oh, except they've got randomized stuff. Spiced vermin balls. It has randomized effects. You don't often see that in Pathfinder, because everything in Pathfinder is very, very rigid. So that's not bad. All right, overall, I like this design. I'm going to skip through the rest of it. Wolf and Rat Games, that's decent for a Pathfinder thing. Admittedly, Pathfinder is not my favorite system. I like it for like very simulationist style things, but that's solid. That's solid. Wolf and Rat Games, you did good on that. What do I want to cover next? A 5th edition one. And this one's going to be a little bit strange, because it deals with like the discount mind flayers. Since mind flayers are not OpenGL material. Yeah, so mind flayers are not OpenGL material, or they're not SRD material. So this deals with a discount clone of them. Ecology of the Brain Gorger Spawn. Playable character options, and it's 5th edition from Total Party Kill Games. So this is where they see budget mind flayers. Not quite a mind flayer. But if it was dark, you might mistake one. By Alex Kammer and Brian Berg. Let's see, this is just 8 pages long. It'll go real quick. So yeah, let's take a look at it. After a few ales. No, am I... Oh no, I wish I hadn't read that. I wish I hadn't read the intro. Oh, shit. And now I'm going to read it for you. What an odd creature, was my first thought. When I first saw the pale and thin person sitting by herself at a table down at the Laughing Pixie with the cowl of its hood up. Oh my god. I just realized something. If you're gonna have a spawn of a mind flayer and it's not gonna be a full mind flayer. Oh, no, I don't want to read this. Okay. The rest of my companions begin to get uneasy about the still and silent figure sitting unaccompanied in a crowded common room. After quite a few ales, I'd imagine, I worked up the nerve to approach, just to make sure it was not a drow elf or some other undesirable. It's a mind flayer. As I approached, she pulled back her hood and stared at me with those almost black eyes that felt like she were parsing my mind and taking inventory of my very soul. She then offered a thin smile and a nod. That was enough for me. I quickly rejoined my friends, telling them it was just a young woman. They know, though, that I had seen something more that night, something unnerving. Yeah, I got unnerved just reading that, considering that we're reading about the Brain Gorger's spawn. Okay. The Brain Gorgers, the discount Mind Flayers. I may as well say Mind Flayers all the way through. The Grotals are humans that, as fetuses, were subject to Brain Gorger magical and psionical manipulation, forever changing them. The result was a new race, the Grotals, of human ancestry, but that share some characteristics of the Brain Gorger. So they're like hybrids. And taking that kind of unsquicks that entire intro. Creations of the Brain Gorgers are well known for their hunting and stockading of humans and intelligent humanoids. Yeah, so these are basically human mind flayer mixes for 5th edition. Well, there was a 3rd edition book, or 3.5 edition book. What was it called? Lords of Madness. And that had some options to let you use like mind flayer influenced characters, almost like Asimar and Tiefling. So, this is sort of like that. Loners and introverts. Much less emotional. Psionically gifted. Pale and wan. So they're obviously... Hold on. Excuse me while I hawk up a lung. I actually wasn't... I've been like this for almost a week now. Give or take. It gets better and then it gets worse sometimes. But I haven't actually been coughing until today. So... the mature Grotal, so they don't look like they don't always have this whole tentacle thing going on. That's only sometimes. 2 of your mental ability scores chosen from intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are increased by 2. However, your strength and constitution scores are both decreased by 1. That's solid. That's solid. Yeah, it's like they're mind lightly flares or see, mind flares would be like brain gorgers, and then they're the brain lightly snackers. But if you're using mind flayers in your campaign, instead, I guess they would be like mind lightly grazers, maybe. They're medium size, walking speed 30. Those are basic. Superior dark vision, that's balanced. Sunlight sensitivity almost always balances out superior dark vision. Sunlight sensitivity, and I find that that's an underutilized penalty. Because I play a lot of things with superior dark vision because I'm really fond of playing Durgar. Is it Dwargar or a Durgar? I never figured that out. And I almost never remember to apply sunlight sensitivity, and the DMs that run things rarely remember to apply it. And the same goes when people are playing them in my campaigns. I almost never remember to apply sunlight sensitivity. Retractable tentacles, yeah. So, like, instead of having their face being tentacles, they, like, open their mouth and then tentacles come out. You know, cue your various imaginings like that. The Gratal can make a melee attack with the tentacles as an action, dealing 2d8 plus their intelligence modifier as psychic damage. If the target is medium or smaller, it is grappled. So that is... Man, can you imagine a first level character with that? That's not a once per day thing. Is it? Is there a limit on how long you can have the tentacles out? When a Gratal's tentacles are extended, they suffer disadvantage on intelligence disguise checks to appear as human. Only disadvantage? What are you disguising those things as? Oh my god. But man, a 2d8 melee attack at first level. Just boom as psychic damage. It's not bad. That is not bad at all. When you reach 5th level, you get Stunning Pulse. It's your mind blast thing. 30-foot cone. As an action, you expend a hit die. I haven't seen very many things use that mechanic. That was during playtesting, but I don't think that I've seen things use that mechanic in terms of main offerings. Expend a hit die to do a 30-foot cone with a DC 8 plus proficiency, standard DC proficiency bonus, or take 46 psychic damage and be stunned. That's pretty hefty. At 5th level, I can understand it. I wish they had limited it as a per day thing, because expending hit die is not a mechanic I see a lot. Ancestries or bloodlines. There are no sub-races of Gratal in existence. Following feats. Ceramorphosis. Your alien mind grows in power, unlocking deeper gifts. You can expend an additional hit die when using Stunning Pulse to deal 48 instead of 46. Wait a minute. 46? I thought this... Yeah, it was 46, not 48. So that bumps them up to D8 and increases it to a 60-foot cone. A 60-foot cone! Wow. Wow, that is a heavy mid-range blaster. And these are just your background effects and quirks. I don't know how I feel about that one. I think it's a little bit overpowered for a PC race, but at the same time, it is thematic. I'll give it that. It is thematic. I imagine I would allow it. Like I don't usually allow third-party material in my games, but if I were to allow it, I can think of a few campaigns where I could allow it. And I would make very, very sure that whoever took this kind of class would be, or this kind of race would be very, very difficult in terms of interacting with your normal human beings. And I'll put the link in the chat. That is Ecology of the Brain Gorger Spawn from Total Party Kill Games. And here we go in the chat. Boom. Yeah, I should have put my affiliate ID in all those. Oh well. So if you want to support and you ever want to buy anything from DrivethruRPG and support me, you can toss that on the end of the link and it'll throw it into it'll kick back a couple percent. It's interesting. I basically use it to pick up. I honestly very rarely get cash out of that. I basically use it to pick up more role-playing game stuff, so that I can review it later. But I've got a ton of stuff I need to review. I need to get on the ball on that. I've needed to get on the ball of that for like months. I've got like almost a year worth of tabletop stuff to review in the bag already. So what are we running at next? What are we looking at next? Next is going to be an adventure. My voice is having issues. I don't know if anybody's having trouble hearing me, because I've got very few people actually watching right now. But if you have any trouble with the audio, let me know. The Mines of Strorburum. I don't know how to pronounce that. Strorburum. Yeah. It's a 5th edition. An adventure for D&D 5th edition. An adventure whose designers need to learn to put like an outline on light text on a light background so you can read it. I like this cover art. This cover art's moody, by Joseph Moore. I've heard that name before. Have I covered? I think I've covered something by this designer before, or by this author, or by somebody with a very similar name. The Mines of Strawberm, and this is from Old School Roleplaying. Doesn't tell you what level it's suited for. Basic text. This is an old school 5th edition module. The mine map is going to use a Dyson Logos map. Dyson Logos maps are really commonly available. Alright, perfect. Perfect. I appreciate that. Because with this voice, man, I can't tell who's going to hear me and who's not. I'm going to see how far I get by. The Dungeon Master area map for the mines was drawn with Campaign Cartographer 3+. I need to work with that. I've picked that up a long time ago, and I never got into it. Artwork by various artists. Drow Priestess on the cover. This is supposed to be a Drow Priestess? I guess that works. The back cover is a Drow Elite Warrior. So we got Drow in the house. Hold on. Excuse me while I try and clear my throat so I can read the intro. The dwarves of Strawberm Mountains are well known for their skill at bringing precious metals and gems out of the earth. For hundreds of years now, they have supplied much of these valuables to the market, but in the last few years, suddenly they have grown silent. No one has heard from any of these dwarves in some time now. The Strawberm dwarves were quite secretive about the location of their mines. Anyone who attempted to look for them met with fierce resistance from their clans. A map exists of the region only because of the bravery of a certain band of adventurers who were seeking out a dragon which had been terrorizing a nearby town. Only one of the band survived the ordeal, but he died soon after of the wounds he had received during his adventure. A scrap of parchment was recovered from his body. This parchment was a map that he made during the journey. Anyone brave enough to seek out these mines might become very wealthy. It seems clear now that the mines must be abandoned as the dwarves have gone missing. I like that. It's simple. It doesn't rely on this big, overwhelming threat to an area. And it appeals to greed, which is a very, for most groups, it's actually a decent way to get them involved. So I can't really complain about that. Two-part adventure. It's a outdoor adventure with a mine of dwarves as the second part. With rail cars. Oh, neat. We'll have to see how that's done. Monster statistics are at the end of the module. Some of the encounters are in the outdoor adventure. Maybe too powerful for the adventurers to fight. That is an old school thing, learning to run away when necessary. It's something that some of my players need to learn. Because, well, I can't get on them too bad because I generally try to face anything. like if I'm throwing at something, I'll try to face it even though I know that I should run from some encounters. Because I find it a challenge and I don't really mind character death that much. Okay, so you've got your random encounter table. Roll a d20, and so it's not a random encounter. It's randomized set encounters because you reach a dot during exploration, so you roll on the d20 during that. So you can play it, and it gives it some replayability. Not much, but some. What I like about that kind of setup is I've designed adventures in the past where the parties have got almost to the end and then wiped and then decided that they couldn't go on with it. So I guess randomizing the first section lets you run another character group through if like your first one kicks off. All of these are pretty simple. It looks like they all use out-of-the-box SRD compliant monsters. Owlbears, cyclops, bugbears, that sort of thing. Griffins. Yeah, this is all very basic monsters. Now some of them look pretty high level. What level is this designed for again? It does not tell me a level. Yeah, this does not say a level. So who knows what level this is for? I guess you just gotta eyeball it and figure it out. These encounters are fixed. Some are merely important landmarks. So this just tells you the landmarks. Very, very simple overland stuff. You got a lich in here. So while he has an this is how they always justify it. They put a very powerful creature in, and they say they have little interest in slaying adventurers. So they're basically there as more of a hazard than a creature. A hazard with a very nice collection of magic items. And that's one of the reasons I don't usually... I mean, I'll occasionally put them into my stuff, but I'll usually make them a dumb monster or something. Because if you put like a big lich with a bunch of high-end material in and they decide to encounter it, 5th edition characters have a much higher chance of being able to take out something at a much higher level than they are. So you run the risk of all of a sudden introducing a robe of the Archmagi, a staff of power, a ring of spell storing, and a ring of fire resistance to your relatively lower level party. That is a lot of gold. 12,500. That is that's 250 pounds of coins. Whereas that crown is worth 8,500 and is probably movable much more easily. They go, man, the longest encounters described so far is on an optional lich. Yeah, the longest encounter description in the outside world is on optional, completely optional content. Okay, so they've been missing for a year. They have been killed by the creatures they're now inhabiting the mines. So the mines really are abandoned. Give me a sec. Finishing off one glass of water. Looking for a place to put it down. A renegade sect of Drow have set up shop in the mines and are using slaves to work the mines. Random encounters within the mines should be rolled every hour. So they do have... Okay, hold on a second. So they do have random encounters once you enter the mines. These are all mid to high range stuff, though. This tends to tell me that this thing is designed for like levels at like 7 to... I want to say 7 or 8 at least on this. Mines are unlit. They have no need for light, so they rely on dark vision. Okay, these are all descriptions. Let me take a look at the map, because I know it uses a Dyson Logos map. This is all interior material. Let's take a look at the map. Alright, here's the exterior. This was done Campaign Cartographer 3. You know what this reminds me of? Oh man, was it done... Did they have it in S4? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No. You know what this reminds me of was one of the Gygax ones from first edition. Let me take a look here. RPG books, AD&D first edition, modules. What was it called? I cannot remember. Caverns of something. I'm betting people are gonna be watching this and it's gonna come to mind way before I look it up. Lost Caverns of Shawthcanth. Lost Caverns of Shawthcanth had something very similar to this, where you had a pathway through the mountains, and then you had set encounters at certain intervals. So this is very much Lost Caverns of Shawthcanth on the overworld. I like that. I think the map could have been done a little bit better, but hey, you work with what you get through. And I can't complain too much on maps, as my patrons know, because I've got patrons that play in games. I'm running a 5th edition and a 2nd edition AD&D game for them. They know my maps are not exactly the greatest, so I can't complain too much. But that's very Lost Caverns of Shawthcanth, and this is your typical Dyson Logos map. Very, very linear for a dungeon. Where's your number 1 on here? Here we go. So you got a river that goes to a mine. Very linear. 1, 2, 3. There's only 10. There's only 10 instances, and that's it. Is there a second level? No. But there is a 3D render of a drow woman, so I guess there's that. Let's take a look at the actual creatures in here. These are all the monsters in there. Come on. So there's just 10 areas in it. You've got non-encounter. Hold on. Okay, so you got a non-combat encounter. Your entrance to the mine. It's a trap to alert guards in Area 4. Beginning of the rails was off in the woods, if I remember. During nighttime hours, a single drow hides in the rocks to watch for potential enemies arriving at the mines. During the light hours, a single human slave watches and will warn the drow. Except they're behind you when you come up, so you have the chance to pick them off as they go by. Barracks, your standard drow barracks, 3 to 12 drow. That is a huge range. You could roll 12 drow and 4 drow elite warriors, and the adventure would be over. But at least half of these drow will be asleep at any time. That's not bad. Carrion crawler. A carrion crawler. That's... Yeah, you're going to chew through... You're going to get through that. Even with half of them asleep, that's going to be rough. And then you've got a carrion crawler. It's very out of place. Several gnome slaves digging for gems and jewelry for the drow. Yeah, this is very straightforward. It's drow in a mine. I kind of want to revise my earlier call. I said, what, 7 to 8? I want to say, like, maybe 5. Like level 5 would be good. I would throw this at level 5 characters. I totally would. And these are just your monsters. You got your Ankeg. I think these are just reprints. Bugbear. These are just stat reprints. Some of them are a little bit different because those aren't OSR. Yeah, these are just stat reprints. Alright, Mines of Strawbroom from... who put this out? Mines of Strawbroom from Joseph Moore of Old School Roleplaying. Very old school seeming thing. It's a pay-what-you-want product. I'll put the link in the chat. Yeah, I approve. It's solid. It's a solid little entry. It would be good for just, you know, like a couple nights play. I wouldn't see that thing taking more than about 2 nights play. Pretty solid. Oh man, we gotta get through this stuff. I still got like 16 of these because I haven't done this in a couple weeks. Next is a free one. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, so let me take a look. Rats in the Metropolis. Very bare bones presentation. I'm not even seeing... It's a 5th edition, apparently. Yeah, there's like no artwork in here. No artwork. Free to purchase. Rats in the Metropolis by Nabil Malik. It's a low-level adventure for rats that start in a major city. At the end, it gets them to level 2. Adventure overview. This adventure involves a rat demon, Pestis Infernalis, that will attempt to trick players into going to a sewer dungeon so that the rat demon can slaughter the party in front of an altar in the dungeon. So he's looking to sacrifice the adventurers. That is a twist. You're not going in to like just hunt random rats at level 1. You get tricked into it, and then a demon's going to sacrifice you. Neat. Tavern is a mix of faint golden lightning and lewd jokes. The patrons here generally lead difficult lives. This is very, very... I'm not even going to go into a lot of info on this. This is a very short adventure. Links to future adventures can be put in here so that you can, like, give leads to... All of these give different leads, so you can use this as a starting point for various other adventures. I got a ruffian battle in a bar. Very straightforward, very simple. You got a paladin that'll stop the fight and heal people up. Gives them the key to the dungeon. It's just... Is there even a map on this? There's no map on this, is there? No, there's no map on this. At least I don't think there's a map on this. Is there a map on this? Let me take a look. Let me take a look real quick. Let me look at my my library. Because sometimes they'll put the files out in different ones. So I need to see whether or not. Nope, it's just got the one file. There's no map involved. So I guess you just go through the descriptions. So there's no map on this. Yeah, not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, none of this is very, very complex. You go fight rats. The whole draw of this isn't even the fights. It's the setup. It's the setup. I'm gonna leave it there. I'll go ahead and put a link anyway. It's free. It's free. May as well check it out. Rats in the Metropolis. I'm disappointed at the lack of any sort of map. Next is the Lost. Okay, I'm gonna go over this next one later, I think. Actually, no, I'll breeze through it now, but I'm not gonna breeze through it in depth. Next one is the Lost City campaign sourcebook, and what this is I'm not sure how to say this, but okay, so the Lost City was a classic. I think BX era Dungeons and Dragons module, and it has recently been converted to 5th edition by Goodman Games, and I probably should order that because I wanted to review it. It's like $50. I'll order it later. I'll get my current review queue cleared out a little bit, and then I'll order it and review it. But the Lost City was very classic. It was low level. You started there. It was like a pyramid buried in the desert. So while the Goodman Games version expands it, this one apparently has work from Dragonfoot and elsewhere on the internet. I don't know if you're aware. Dragonfoot was an OSR style site. I haven't been there in a long, long time because it started getting unbearable. But it had material. It had good material while it was worth looking at. This is from 2018. This was from 2018, but it was recently put up on DrivethruRPG. So I guess some people are putting up some of the stuff on there, I guess. So this is basically a collection of articles, background information, and expansion material for the Lost City, which is classic. And you've got, James Malashewski, which I've seen that name elsewhere. Damos Sachelis, Bob Kindle tells you about Tom Moldvoy, who did the editing and I believe some of the writing on that, or if not all of the writing on that. So this is basically background material on the Lost City. I've read some of it. I have not read all of it, but it is very interesting in terms of the background. And you've got the past print history. You got background articles, inspirations. So a lot of like the original D&D stuff was inspired by real world material. So it's useful sometimes to look at the history and the cultures that the material was based on in order to present it in a more thorough light. This gives you all the inspiration on it. Let me continue to take a look. How to fit it into various campaigns. Home of the Lost City, that deals with Eric Holmes's version. Expansion material for lower tiers, because the original dungeon only had the upper tiers and the lower tiers were left for the DM to go ahead and figure out. So this kind of tells you more about that. and it gives you a new map in case you can't come up with your own, and appropriate things from people that have studied the background on this. This is not a bad take. If you're running the Lost City campaign and you're not, or not campaign, the Lost City adventure, and you want to expand it, but you don't want to purchase the new Goodman Games stuff, this is as good a place as any to grab, especially since it is free. It is free. So I will go ahead. It is all scholarly material. It's kind of material that I could spend like afternoons reading. And it tells you how it expanded throughout the various later supplements, because it was touched upon. Yeah, Elder Evils had Zargon in it, and that was Zargon was the entity from that dungeon, and they expanded it. Neat. So I'm gonna wrap that one up there. I will put the link in the chat here shortly. That's for the Lost City campaign sourcebook. Very useful if you're a fan of old school D&D products. All right. What is next? Is a pay what you want Osric adventure, I believe, if I'm remembering right. The Throne of Skulls. An Osric adventure. Yes, I remembered it right. By Joseph Moore, whom I just covered, who did the Mines of Storburn as well. Excuse me while I continue to cough up a lung. Actually, it's not like a lung thing, it's like a throat thing. That's what bothers me most about it, I think. Because it should be... I used to get this all the time. Like, literally, like, every year I would get it. And I haven't got this in, like, a couple of years. So, you know. Anyway, The Throne of Skulls, an Osric adventure for characters of levels 10 and up. That is a relatively high-level adventure. Wow, okay. So let us see. It's by Joseph Moore. It's only 22 pages. Gives you the background on old school gaming. Cartography by Dyson Logos again. It's not too bad. I like his maps, or I like Dyson's maps. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I can't assume people or this or that, especially with a name like that. Dyson Logos does excellent maps, though. While exploring the desolate hills far away from the town, the adventurers stumble upon a secret hideaway with an unusual and terrifying design. It is shaped like a giant skull. Who lives in this structure, and why was it built so far from civilization? Could it be the Grandmaster of Assassins? Could it be the home of the fabled Throne of Skulls? Or could it be an oddly muscular purple man with a skull-shaped head? Or wait, no, that was the other dude. That was Skeletor. No, the Prince, what's-his-face, was the one that lived in Grayskull, wasn't he? I don't know, man. I haven't watched that cartoon since I was very, very, very small. And even then, I wasn't a big fan of it. This adventure is for characters of levels 10 and up, and that's an Osric level 10, so that is actually really high level for Osric. Skull Fortress teleports about. So this is one where there's no reason for characters to be in there. They're just wandering around, and they see like this Skull Fortress. So like you're on a completely different voyage, and then all of a sudden, boom, a fortress that looks like a skull. And they get to decide whether to go in it or not. Yeah, these are all decent. I'm looking at these at these randomized encounters, and for a level 10 party on Osric, they are relatively lightweight. Well, I wouldn't say that. It's for level 10 fighters. That's pretty rough. Although not really. Fortress rises nearly 200 feet in the air. How big is this fortress? This is 6. I'm on page 6. This is not huge. This is like 10 rooms. Oh, man. I'm quietly in love with isometric maps, even though they're hard as hell to use on the game table. Like, I would not... the one time I dislike using isometric maps on the game table, but I love looking at them. So this is a 10-room dungeon. So let's go back to page 6. 10-room dungeon, no overarching reason to be there, just it's there. Go ahead. Starts with a named two-headed troll, not too bad. A nice punchy intro encounter. I need to take my elbows off the desk when I do that. A nice punchy intro encounter. I like that. Very light on loot, not too bad. You got a 46, or you got a trap here. This is I was gonna say you got a 46 trap, but look at this trap. Also inside this area is a staircase leading up to Area 2. The stairs are trapped. Anyone who attempts to walk up these stairs without first turning the sconce closest to the stairways clockwise will find the stairs drop away into a deep pit of spikes which are poisoned. So you get 50 feet of fall from the fall. You get 2d6 from the spikes, and when you hit them, you are poisoned by the spikes. Type D insinuative. That's... Did they have... Oh, it's just because it's an Osric thing. Give me a second. I was going to say, did they have that in first edition? But this isn't strictly a first edition thing. This is Osric. Let me pull up my Osric book. Type D insinuative. I've got there's got to be a poison list in here. I'm curious as to what type D poison is. 131. Type D. Type D is not listed in here. What the hell? Is it in monsters? Yeah, my Osric doesn't have a type D listed. Doesn't have any types listed. Am I looking in the wrong area? I know this isn't like the greatest thing, but now I'm curious. And when I can't find something, I become even more curious. There's a table index in the back. Surely that's got it. So because I remember first edition poisons were just like save or die. And this lists a type. I think that's referring to something else. I can't see it. I can't find it in here. It's... I guess it means to refer to something else. Hold on. So instead of a save or a check, you use a modified 46 versus dexterity to avoid that trap. Got 2 10th level fighters. Not going to be a huge amount of problem for a level 10 party. Next is the nose hole. A pulley system here allows for the door in Area 1 to be lifted to allow passage into the fortress. So these are the guys that are watching. This area is protected by Merlons, giving the guards standing here 75% cover. So if you're firing at them through the nose hole of the skull-faced fortress, they get to avoid you, and they get to fire down at you. So you could actually be taking damage. And this actually brings to another thing. Because so far I'm looking at none of these encounters look very, very difficult. But if you look at the way that the fortress is laid out, now that I know that those are like open, you can be advancing, right? And then they can like fire down on you from Area 3. I don't think Area 2, because I think Area 2 is just in... No, Area 2 is yeah, that is Area 2. Because look at this layout. You go in, and you take the stairs up, and that leads on to Level 2, and Level 2 has the eye socket open, and Level 8 has the eye socket open. So you can be taking fire from like a couple different areas. Yeah, this all of a sudden becomes quite a bit more dangerous. I like it. I really like it. And none of this looks very... It doesn't look like this would... This looks suitable for like one night of play. Got an Iron Golem in Area 4. It will only activate in very specific circumstances. That is, if the alarm has been raised. So if you sneak in, you don't need to worry about this Iron Golem. But it could hit you on the way out. We got a barracks in there with 3 to 12 guards. But what are the guards? I guess they're detailed somewhere else. Stairway up. You got another trap. If this trap is not disarmed, the trap will be triggered. The stairs will flatten, creating a slide. So you slide down, oil sprays to make it slippery. Leads towards the gaping hole between areas 6 and 2. So then you fall 30 feet into area 1. So you slide basically all the way outside of the fortress, and then they ignite the flame. That's nasty. Doesn't do nearly as much damage as the prior trap, but that is pretty brutal. That's like more of an insult trap. It's like you get that far, you've raised the alarms, and then they kick you out and set you on fire while everybody rearranges themselves within. That's not too bad. Got various special weapons. Alright. The Throne of Skulls itself. Sitting upon this throne is a man in black leather armor. He has several scars in his place. This is Azurius, the Grand Master of Assassins. So if you need a Grand Master of Assassins in your first edition game or your Osric game, there you go. And you've got like almost an entire adventuring party. Well, not really. You've got an assassin, another assassin, and a 16 level magic user. And then some 10th level fighters. And then Jordan Donrel, a 3rd level fighter. So you can get in there, think that you're facing the guy, and just take him out. And then one of the actual assassin grandmaster is one of the guards. Okay, not too bad. Treasure's pretty standard for that edition. Nothing really stands out. And you get an observation deck. They'll keep flying creatures at bay. So they thought of everything. And this tells you the Assassin's Guild. Yeah, it's not bad. You got some new magic items, but they're very straightforward. You got exploding arrows, claws of murder, which is useful as a weapon of assassination. Garrot of Assassin. It's all assassin-based stuff. So if you wanted like a Dark Brotherhood style feel in terms of your gear, that's not too bad. Alright. Well, the Throne of Skulls itself is an artifact. So you get some minor benign powers. You get +3 armor class, which is not bad. Hold on. And then basically it acts. You can bond with it. If you bond with it and then the throne's destroyed, then you die as well. But it's an artifact, so there's that. It makes you chaotic evil. And the throne will direct you. It's not too bad. Paladins can kill it rather easily. Well, not easily, but more easily than some. All right, not a bad adventure. That's the Throne of Skulls for Osric, and it looks like it's a level 10 adventure, and it's actually a pretty well put together one. I will give it that. All right, wow, I have a lot more to do, and my voice is already starting to fail again. So I'm going to go through some of these pretty quick, and I may not get to all of these. Valor in the Prison of Despair, aka all about wandering monsters. This is 13 pages. Board Enterprises. I have no idea what this is actually. World Rocket Edition. This comes in 2 versions. This is a free one. This is a free one, but there is a pay for one, and that expands on it more. I'm just gonna go over this real quick. This is Legend Quest Associated, which is I don't know what Legend Quest is. So this just deals with wandering monsters. This looks very specific. I may skip some of this. This talks about the world of Flentnern, which has a wiki apparently. So you can, if you feel like looking it up, World of Flentnern has a wiki apparently, and this tells you what you can face. This is all stock images and Elmore stuff, but I think it's Elmore stock. This just tells you about the setting. Yeah, so this is basically an introduction to the setting. I'm not going to go into it a lot. It's not too bad, but it's not too badly put together. It doesn't look that bad. This mission is best played using the Legend Quest rules. I got no idea what those are, but you can use it with other things apparently. And the GM's version of this edition, there are several notes that are flagged as GM only. Wait, are they using... They aren't actually using the term wiki as an actual wiki. They're using wiki to refer to a source book. That's not what wiki means. At least I don't think it's what it means. Alright, so yeah, this is just a very setting-specific thing for Legend Quest. It doesn't look too bad. I guess I'll put the link in the thing. I'm just gonna... Wow, that's a long link. Yeah. It's a free product. It's just a background to a campaign setting. Could be worse. All right, let's take a look at Killer Queen one shot. Killer Queen one shot. What's that? Tell me I have it. Yes, I've got it. From Giulio F. Tazzanari and Queen Killer. Queen Killer, a long shot. For Fate. I have not played Fate. I understand it's like vaguely based on Fudge, and I have played Fudge back in the day. But I have not played Fate. One-shot adventure integrated with a mini scenario to be played with Fate Accelerated RPG system. It's set in the industrial urban fantasy scenario with lots of references to classic rock and metal bands. And the Kingdom of Dark Throne has been ruling over the continent with tyranny for ages, and the current queen manages with an even stricter with her policies to the point that she's got the nickname of Iron Maiden. A group of rebels called the Quiet Riders. Yeah, I get it. It's all band references. It's all band references. It's got quick character creation rules. It's all music based, so I guess you play rock band in this using magic metal. About 1,000 years ago, the world changed when humanity found out that through the vibrations of the air, they could control nature itself. Melodies became spells, instruments became weapons, and musicians became wizards. So, literal rock wizards. I get what they're going for here. I can dig it. This just tells you the background. It's all based on old punk and rock based stuff. You can tell because they put it in italics and everything. Although, so it gives you an investigation. Quiet Riders wants to try to hold back the advantage. Excuse me. So the main character story, you get to investigate. A queen may be paying a visit to Toxic City for a meeting. You gather volunteers for the investigation. You go out to investigate it. This is very, very like bare bones type stuff. Suitable for an investigation things. The conceit is that it's all based on rock songs. So, Spartown, you got the Paranoid, which is the most famous drug dealer in town, apparently, fills the air inside the train with hallucinogenic gas. Characters have to go through 3 wagons fighting their worst nightmares and traumas. Kind of like fighting the Scarecrow, I guess. You get like a fear gas or whatever. It's not too bad. I'm kind of getting tired of all the rock-themed references, but I get what they're going for here. The Blind Guardian. Yeah, this is all. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop looking through this. It's basically a rock-based investigation. Go figure. It could be worse. It could be worse. I would recommend having a high degree of tolerance for puns if you're gonna run that one, because I suspect that it would go better for certain groups than others. I'll put a link in the chat. Next is next is The Face of the Temptress. This is one that I thought was interesting in concept. It deals with a possession. The Face of the Temptress is a short meta adventure for any level for OSR games. And what this does, and I'm just going to go over this real quickly because it is a very short one. It's only about a dozen pages. Basically, you get a haunted object, and it's written using the Rules Cyclopedia rules, so it's compatible with most of the old school stuff. And it deals with a possession. So you get like this haunted object, and then the entity within the haunted object starts taking you over. Basanta is the being in the object, and it's not so much an adventure as something that you can run while other adventures are going on. So you find this haunted object, and then it slowly takes over one of the PCs. And she pretends to be good. Basanta may enter the dreams of anyone using the icon of the Temptress to communicate with them. She will introduce herself as Queen Basanta or of Lost Lantash, a city of incredible beauty and magic now lost to time. She asks the PC. She asks the PCs if she will help them restore the memory of her kingdom to the world. So that's like the foot in the door. And then slowly she works like her influences on the PC over time. Like people are spoiling the PC in general. You get so the PC that's being possessed gets her charisma score increased. It gets clothes and jewelry out of nowhere. Then you get another event, the request. You get another dream. Basanta greets the PC with a smile and compliment. This is a good way of doing a possession because it kind of worms influence into the PC's daily life. And she's trying to take over the PC. And the PC will get abilities, but eventually she demands that the PC get some tattoos, and if the PC refuses, they not only lose all the enhancements, but they get cursed. Okay. And then the rest of the group's expected to help the PC figure out what's going on here. And if they don't, then the PC continues to change. That's not a bad way to do things. This is interesting to read simply because it gives you a good way, it gives you a good example of working. And I've read this before. I'm not just skimming this one. This one I have read before. This one is a good way. It's a good example. I wouldn't use it as written, but it's a good example of how an evil creature can slowly insinuate changes into a PC and corrupt them, and gives you a way, like an adventure that's not necessarily an adventure. It gives the character something to do no matter where they're at. So it's actually a good way to do that. I would actually recommend reading it. I will put a link. It is a pay what you want offering called The Face of the Temptress. And it is from Death Trap Games. It's actually really, really neat. All right, we'll move on to the next one. I don't know. We'll see. Next one is another pay what you want adventure. I don't know what it's for though. It's called Into the Wizard's Hookah. I don't know how long I'm going to be continuing this because my voice is really starting to wear. I think we're about halfway done though. Into the Wizard's Hookah. It's a one-page adventure. This adventure takes place inside a demi-plane created by the wizard Morrison as an attempt to help the PCs create a magical object that will let them rescue a friend whose silver cord has been severed and their mind lost on the astral plane. So it's got a very specific background. This is basically, if this thing happens, then you can throw this in real quick to use. Ordinarily, I don't mind that sort of thing, but this is an incredibly specific background. Like this one I haven't read. It's also from Death Trap Games. But I will say this. Like just looking at it, what this reminds me of is if you've played the Elder Scrolls games, if you've played either Skyrim or Oblivion. In Oblivion, there's this one quest where you enter somebody's dreams in order to help them find the fragments of themselves. And in Skyrim, when you do the Azura Star quest, and then at the end, you're placed into Azura Star to defeat the wizard that took it over. This reminds me of this because this is kind of a dreamscape almost. So you've got somebody lost, and the wizard sends you into like this. I guess it's only like a 5-room dungeon, all contained inside of a hookah pipe. You gaze again at the comatose form of your friend. The magic candle keeping them alive is getting low now. Another may not work. You catch yourself holding your breath. The strange, shaven-headed monk, the wizard Morrison, fusses with a hookah as he talks. Everything about him screams impatient. You can only hope that translates into quick. Look, he says as he lights the charcoal and closes the lid. I don't have time to explain the finer points of chemagnostic psychomancy with you. Yes, we can bring your friend back. You'll need to create a Varya. For that, you'll need to take a trip into dream space, a vision quest. It will be strange and it could be dangerous. He takes a drag on a hookah pipe and then offers a hose to each of you, meaningfully. Time is short. Make a choice. For those of you brave enough to take the hose and breathe in, the icy smoke makes you instantly dizzy as you evaporate into silver mist and feel yourself sucked down the pipe, just as suddenly as you are yourself again and falling into something soft and wet in a strange new place. So you basically go into a dream realm. And I actually although the setup for this one is very specific, I actually kind of like that idea, where you've got like a dungeon or a area of an adventure that is completely separate from the world and accessible through a dream. So it's just got a fungus pit where you start up, the lethargic gap, yawning pit. I'm looking through the deals. Any activity requires focus, playing an instrument, preparing spells, etc. can create a solid path of technical or vapor to cross. So you basically have to focus in order to make a bridge so that you can cross it. Not too bad. The id chamber, the walls of this hexagonal chamber are covered with tally marks. That's number 3, that's down there. The red scaly devil here named Gefagor has been bound here for centuries. You got to play a contest with the devil. 4, the outer darkness, which is over there. It's on the other side. The walls glisten with slime. The book contains only 2 words, underwill, which are half of the passphrase. Getting them involves getting past the Star Child that guards it. And the Star Child is... it looks like another combat thing. So it's all very, very like mind-like. Or very, very dream-like. Alright. I'm gonna leave that one at that. It's called Into the Wizard's Hookah. It is a good example of a self-contained world, dreamscape type thing, although it's got a very specific entry point. I don't even know what. Let me open that up again. What system is this for? Any OSR compatible RPG, level 3 to 5. Okay. Next one's gonna be quick. It's a 5th edition alternate thing. I should have covered this at the beginning. I guess I did. I don't know. I guess I... Sounds like a copy-paste error. I should have covered this at the beginning. Revised carrying capacity rules. A new carrying capacity mechanic for 5th edition. The base carrying capacity 5th edition rules suck. I've tried to... they're like so bare bones and basic that they're almost not worth using. So what this does, it's only got 4 pages, one of which is completely done with resources. Actually, the first of which is a title page, then one that is a foreword. Carrying capacity. For many RPG players, it seems like they either love it or hate it. I love it when I don't have to track it. That's why I've been using a lot of Fantasy Grounds lately. I used to use Roll20. I switched over to Fantasy Grounds, and I've been loving it ever since. And mostly because a lot of the minor details that I love using in these games, like carrying capacity, encumbrance, that sort of thing, it is all automated in that system, or you can automate it to a high degree in that system. So it lets me use all that inane type of minutia and not feel bad about it. But this is for 5th edition. It's a lightweight system using slots. Yes, much like video games, it allows game masters and players a semblance of realism, but without the time cost of a rules-heavy system. So it's slot-based. So it's like, have you ever played like the Diablo games and such? For I don't even know if the newest. Yeah, I guess so. I guess the new one does it. But you've got like an inventory screen, and it's just divided into squares. Yeah, this uses that. This rule set is not designed to be realistic. For simplicity's sake, characters only track items that weigh over 1 pound, and everything that weighs 1 pound and under is not tracked as far as carrying capacity goes. It uses slots. One item and only one item can go into a slot. If you have a small slot and you place a longsword in, the slot is full. Okay. All characters, regardless of strength, are able to carry a basic amount of equipment. You've got a backpack slot, armor worn slot, melee weapon. This is an inventory system that's based on video games. It does have weight limits on it, though. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, it gives you bonus slots if you've got high strength or low strength. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one way to do it. I would use this... I would prefer to use this over the 5th edition basic encumbrance rules, because the 5th edition basic encumbrance rules are like almost not worth even using. This one, I could use it. You know what this reminds me of? Castles and Crusades inventory system. Castles and Crusades inventory system doesn't formalize it quite to this degree, but it uses like almost like a slot system. Not quite a slot system. I may have to review that sometime, Castles and Crusades. Anyway, that was revised carrying capacity to pay what you want product. You know, if you feel like using it, there it is. It's not bad. It's not bad. I would use it over the default. Let's see what's next. How many do I have left? Okay, we're getting toward the end. I got 10 more left. Some of which are very, very simple. Nevanistra's Gauntlet is the next one I want to look at. Nevanistra's Gauntlet, which says Nevanistra's Gauntlet, but it says Nevanistra's Grung when I look at the file name. It is a 6-page, 5th edition thing that involves a bridge. Okay. So what is this? What even is this? It's like a 2-page adventure. It's got 6 pages, but it's all introduction. Oh my god, it's got an introduction suitable for a full adventure. Okay. Nevanistra is a Drider with a modified stat block, and it's got her stat block in it. This adventure has several unique effects. There's wind. You have to track the wind. It's got webbing. It's got cloud cover. Because the gauntlet is literally a bridge. The goal of this quest is to cross the bridge that connects the 2 battlements and get through the port cliffs on the other northern side, which opens as the characters approach it. However, characters may choose to take other paths, such as in attempting to kill Nevestra. Doing so does not end any of the environmental effects, but it does prevent her from shooting at them as they cross the bridge. At the end of each round, roll 1d8 and consult the table below to see what emerges and where on the bridge. For the purposes of this encounter, all creatures who are not hostile to Nevestra possess the following trait, Web Walker. So at each round, you get a randomized event. Drow Warriors, Drow Elite Warriors, and Quaggoths. Giant spiders and 1 Quaggoth, and a fierce giant spider and 1d4 plus 1 Quaggoths. And they just appear at certain positions on the bridge. And the whole point is just to get across the bridge. Neat. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into this. This is just a bridge. Challenge rating 9, not bad. So there's no map except for the one, no, there is a map. The map's in a separate file. Let's see if I can't. Oh no, I can't. Okay, the map's in a separate file. I'll already tell you right now. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's this, just bigger. This is what you're looking at. Like this here, right here. See if I can't blow this up real quick. So the map file that comes with this is just this, except big. So this entire... this is a pay-what-you-want product. I honestly don't even know. I don't know that it's worth paying for. I'll put the link in the chat. I will say this. I wouldn't use this as is, but I would definitely take a look at this if I was designing a similar encounter. Because event encounters, like randomized event type encounters, are something that I put into my dungeons from time to time. And this is actually a semi-decent example of it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let me put it back to fit width. There we go. Yeah, and the only... I mean, it's got lots of little enemies, but the major enemy here, she's just... Oh, she's got all kinds of sharpshooter stuff. She can make shots that others find impossible. Attacking at long range does not impose disadvantage. She's got the sharpshooter feat. And she's got the sharpshooter longbow. Alright. So, that was quick. Yeah, that's all I'm going to get into on that. It's a decent event-based encounter. I would use it, not as is, as I said, but in order to design other things. Alright. Next is Demonic Tome. It's a pay-what-you-want option. Demonic Tome. I have not opened this, so let's see. Let's see if I don't get an error. It's a source book for old school tabletop role-playing games set in the modern day. Originally published in 2002 as Dread, the First Book of Pandemonium, from Raphael Chandler. So this has been published before. I don't think I've seen that one. So this is like a redo of that. Alright. It's got intro stuff. Modern urban fantasy. Oh man, this is all background material. The gates of hell open up in the modern day. So this is actually a standalone role-playing game, and it looks like it's old school because you've got clerics, fighters, magic users, and thieves, but they're all like modern day characters. 8 hit points plus constitution. Yeah, this is all. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm skipping around a lot. I'm trying to scan it real quick. Clerics can wield any weapon and wear any armor, just like fighters. Yeah. And clerics get immunity. So clerics are actually more powerful in this game than they are in like other old school games. It looks very much like old school stuff. Thief gets your basic thief skill attacks, except it's called something different. Thieves can gather evidence in this one, though, so that can actually be helpful if it's a more investigative type game. When characters hit points reach 0, it is time to retire. This means that the character will die soon. Gee, that's a nice way of putting it. So you do have a way to avoid death. Instead, the character's hit points go up to double their current maximum. Any spells are replenished. The character receives +3 on hit points for the remainder of the gaming session. At the end of the gaming session, or when a demon is killed, the player narrates a fitting demise. So instead of dying immediately, you get to make like a last stand kind of thing, which is neat based on the genre. The genre, you know what this reminds me of is Supernatural, I want to say. So like, you know that you're doomed if you've been hit to 0, and you get one last burst of being awesome, and then you die. That's not half bad. These randomized Lovecraftian style books. I have such wonderful things to show you. That kind of thing. Got some Junji Ito style art in this thing, man. It's all set in a city where hell has come to Earth. Equipment is very basic. These look like... Yeah, this looks like old school OSR style stats. You've got your AC here, and you've got descending and ascending AC. This reminds me of Swords and Wizardry Light. You've got cleric spells. Spells are stat-wise, they remind me of Swords and Wizardry, but the descriptions go on, and they are all themed towards that sort of horror, supernatural, urban world. Yeah, I could dig this. This is called Demonic Tome. I'm going to just browse the rest of it real quick. Yeah, modern urban fantasy. Wow. Modern urban fantasy is not usually my thing, but I could totally see running this. Yeah, magic user spells are more limited. They look more horrific. QWERTY. Data manipulation type spell. Neat. And you got a lot of demon focused things. Of course. 9th level Titan. A lot of summoning things in this. Yeah, I'm loving the art style in this, man. It's really neat. This is actually very well done. Got a DM section. Abattoir. Has the chance. I guess it converts dead bodies to. Excuse me. It gives you the chance to convert people and supernatural beings into other ones. Got different demon types. When a demon is slain, there's a percentage chance equal to its max hit points that a magic item will just appear. So this one, you literally kill, like when you kill a demon, like magic items appear. So they turn into loot boxes. Maybe. That's not a bad way to do it. It's very thematic with a system. So they've got spell-like abilities. Yeah, here let me. I don't know how in depth it goes. Let me toss the link in here. This is Demonic Tome. It is pay what you want, which means you can grab it free, or give them $1 if you feel like it later. What I usually do with the pay what you want is I grab them, and if I like them and use them a lot, then I toss some money their way. And if I don't, then I don't. Yeah, so these are all like spell-like abilities, but they're written up as spells so that a magic user or cleric could potentially earn one. It's got a lot of body horror type stuff in here too. Neat. I'm looking. Yeah, man, that looks like something out of. Looks like something out of Stranger Things or something like that. Not that I've watched much of that. What I have that remind me of it. So I'm guessing this is where we look at the actual monsters. there wasn't there's no heading. It's just you're looking at spells, and then boom, you're looking at monsters. The stats in here, they are very these are very swords and wizardry style stuff. So this is your swords and wizardry based material. I'm presuming that Amduscius, that is that. Yeah, Lovecraftian type stuff. The artwork on this is solid. Amis, it gives you the type of demon, your basic stats. As I said, very similar to Swords and Wizardry, although these demons look to have a lot of hit dice. They have a lot of hit dice. If you haven't played Swords and Wizardry and old school stuff, don't get concerned over the low damage. Like this one has 20 hit dice, but the damage is only 1d10 plus 9. That is plenty of damage for Swords and Wizardry type stuff. So these are big demons to face. These are you do not go. It's not like in traditional Swords and Wizardry where you go into a dungeon and face like 30 goblins. In this one, your entire team can face one demon and probably take several sessions to take them down. Animative, this is only 6 hit. This is only 6 hit dice. And is big enough to devour someone. Aristom. The Aristom demon resembles a cross between a tapeworm and a python. That one is only 3 hit dice. So now we're getting towards the realm of the ordinary. I can tell you though, man, if this follows the only thing that makes these things palatable is the fact that your firearms do a massive amount of damage as compared to a lot of Swords and Wizardry stuff. Excuse me, I should have marked that. I should have muted that. Aspinaba. Another demon. Let's see what it looks like. Now that is a more traditional style of demon. It looks like a xenomorph in some instances. It feeds on the misery caused by domestic abuse. So all of these demons like feed on or seek a particular type of misery. What is this? The Avanoi. It's a spiky crimson horror. It's only 5 hit dice. The stalker is drawn to those who do not tithe. It transforms itself into an ordinary human, then joins a church, posing as someone new in town. It studies the so these guys a lot. It looks like I don't think this is the first one that can do it. It looks like several of these can turn into ordinary humans, blend into town, and then when they find somebody that fits their particular niche, then they turn into these horrible monsters. So this one works its way into churches, finds the people who aren't giving to the church, and then goes after them. Wow. Okay, this is just straight up like Lovecraftian here. Axomiod. That is a 6 hit dice creature. It is basically tentacles and hooves. The Axomiod befriends weak, bullied people and then potentially drives them to murder and or killing themselves. Wow. Wow, so these kind of work into people's minds. Man, that's dark, but I like it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. This is very old school. Demonic Tome, yeah, I am definitely into it. I would say though that some of these are like a lot of these, like most of these are dark. I like that because they're demons. They're supposed to be dark. But use at your own risk regarding certain people. Oh man, that just looks gruesome. It's inside that dude. It hunts those who judge others. So if you've got someone that's judgmental, it goes after them. Oh my god. Yeah, that's not going to draw attention. It's like Lovecraftian Godzilla. 20 hit dice. 500 feet high. Decarabia is a gargantuan nightmare. Decarabia attracts the attention of the disciples by killing their allies. It tracks down those who have helped them provide information or even helped for them in the past, and then hunts them down and kills them in the grisliest possible ways. As grisly as you can get when you're 500 foot high. Yeah, this is just... Some of these are just dark. I'm skipping reading over some of this stuff because, quite simply, if I read it on YouTube, it's... yeah, it's gonna... Oh my god. Getting out of that priest's mouth. All right, I'm gonna skip through here. I'm afraid to. I'm gonna go much faster. See if I can't get. See if there's anything else after all these monsters. I'm loving the variety of creatures in here. The rest of this, like more than half of this book is just monsters. Different types of demons. I love that. And then you've got human opponents here. Yeah. Yeah, all of this can be used. A lot of this can be used in different things. This is definitely a win. I definitely recommended this. Like I haven't even read the background information because this has its own setting. Oh, definitely a pickup on. I will definitely have to read that again. All right, that was Demonic Tome. Definitely worth a read. Let's try and get onward while my voice holds out. Yeah, after this, I was gonna start recording some more Let's Play stuff, but I'm not gonna get to do that, man. I'm gonna have to rest my voice again after this, and hope I recover. I used to get this like almost every year. I've said it before. I used to get this like constantly. I haven't got it for a while now. It usually goes away in under a week. Well, I'm going on almost a week here now, and it's still going strong. Although I will say this, it wasn't as bad as it used to get. It used to get terrible. I used to sound like this, and it would just be terrible. But at least that only lasted for like an hour or two. But the rest of the time it was like almost that way. This is actually good compared to how it's been for the last few days. All right, next is A Ninja's Honor. It's a one-page adventure, so it'll go quick. A Ninja's Honor. Let's assume that I've got it. A Ninja's Honor. Man, it's one page. It's a bare minimum one-page adventure. It doesn't even tell you what it's for. It's from Target Roll, I guess. It's Creative Commons attribution. In the Edo period, the Nanba clan was a powerful legion that had the entire dominance of the northeast parts of Japan, and just like any powerhouses, there are going to be rebellions inside their people. A group of shinobi is hired by the daimyo Nanbu Naofusa to get rid of the main leaders of the rebellion in the region. Naofusa has been kidnapping and threatening men from the small villages in the Nanbu region to work on their farms. These men are treated pretty much like slaves, as some of them deciding to flee to create a group that has been terrorizing rich towns around the land and killing nobles and guards. As the players investigate, they may choose to take the side of the farmers that want to kill the daimyo, or to finish the rebellion leaders and finish their jobs. So this is kind of, yeah, it's literally one page. This is very much a in setting setup without a lot of events. You've got a description of the rebellion, you've got a description of the villages, you've got a description of the towns, and then you got what you need to do to finish each side, and it's all left up to the DM to figure out. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not going to go into it. It looks like it's, I want to say looks like it's for 5th edition, but it uses a charm check, which I don't know what that's for. So I'll put a link up. Hey, at least that one was quick. And that is a pay what you want adventure, and here is the link. Next is, I'm going to look this one up because I've got it listed as free, but if I remember, it was free but discounted, and I don't know how long that lasts. Okay, it is still technically free. It is normally $2.50, but it is still technically discounted to 0 and free, so I will cover it in here. And it's called Blood Castle, a Dungeon Blitz Adventure. It's solo dungeon exploration. And the reason I'm taking a look at this is because I love me some solo games. No, I don't need to fill in this form. Thank you very much. So let's take a look at the reference. You've got the rules, and then you've got the adventure. And you got some note on further adventures. This is from Peril Planet. Oh shit, my throat's starting to hurt, so I need to kind of ease off on this. Solo adventure game. 3 6-sided dice, a pencil and eraser, a character sheet, and a piece of graph paper. Just uses D6s. It uses a D66, which is rare, but I've seen it. You make a hero. You got 3 stats: strength, wits, and attack. You begin with a special ability, a single one. So you pick one. Talents are, I guess, no, they're not classes. There's no classes. You just pick a talent. So you can be an archer, dodger, and it just gives you one thing to do. You begin with a luck value of 1. You will spend this during adventures. You have wounds equal to 15 plus your strength and wit stats, and for those those are assigned. They're not randomly rolled. Your defense value is equal to 4 plus your wit stats, so you get wits helps you defend yourself rather than anything like dexterity or anything, because you've only got the 3 stats. There are other Dungeon Blitz adventures. You can use them instead. Rules for experience and leveling up are on page 21. So I'm assuming there's going to be several of these, or if there already are several of these. Very bare bones stuff. I've seen this type of thing in a dozen different other solo games. The material is just your bare bones stuff. It doesn't give you it just gives you flat damage bonuses rather than ranges. So it looks like it's going to be one of those games. One piece of armor at a time. Just ups your defense. When your hero does something, you will make a check, roll 2d6, add any stat and other modifiers, and then against a target number. Yeah, so that's bearable. So it's like 2d6 plus wits plus against a target number of 9. Just like any other system that uses that basic thing, except it's not d20, it's d6s. I can live with that. It uses advantage and disadvantage, but instead of the d20 system where you roll 2d20, this one you only roll 1 extra d6. So it's not quite as good as advantage and disadvantage in other systems. Or it is, I guess, based on the system's granularity, but not based on like the feel of it. Alright, your luck point is basically your inspiration. This does have a margin of success, margin of failure mechanic. This are very basic rules. Exploration phase, combat phase, and then search phase. So much like in 4 Against Darkness, you move and then you fight if necessary, and then you check out the room if there's either no fight there or if you win the fight. Not too bad. Okay. Choose an unexplored exit, and then you randomly roll the exit. Just like the other ones I've had, not a lot of difference there. Exploration table will also show you how many exits from the location. Each encounter on the exploration table has a small box you should tick. Each location. But are the locations randomized, or are they like out of a set list? Okay. Locations have keywords. Keywords tell you the environmental details. So you get modifiers to stuff. And I like some of these. It can be dark, in which case you can't see if you can't have a lantern. You suffer -1 to attack. If it's small, then monsters can't gang up on you. If it's large, then you don't get a free attack. Not too bad. I like that idea. It's very simple so far. Troubleshooting your map. Yeah, solo dungeons have that problem where you can generate a random room and it can be like off the edge of the map. I totally understand this. This just tells you how to handle it. I don't know if I like the map generation here. Because if that's typical, I haven't looked at it yet, but if that's typical, the map generation, that's kind of plain and sameish. I like the map generation in 4 Against Darkness better. At least in terms of aesthetics. And I understand how goofy it is to talk about the aesthetics of a dungeon design on a solo-based game. I completely get that. But I like I like how the ones generated by 4 Against Darkness look better. Combat phase, you get to decide whether they've been surprised. If they have been surprised, then you can attack for free. You get the combat. Free attacks are made like any other, described below. Your heroes and the monster will take it in turns. So instead of a 1 versus 1 like in Tunnels and Trolls, it is alternating just like in like D&D. Combat is melee, unless otherwise noted. The hero attacks, make an attack check with a 10 equal to the monster's defense. That's understandable. The monster loses wounds equal to the basically how much you beat it by, plus any bonus for the weapon used. Okay. And if the monster survives, then it attacks back, and you go back and forth. All right, that's cool. Repeat this process until either the hero or the monster's wound value has been reduced to 0. Okay. Non-combat actions. You can eat a ration or drink a healing potion to heal. You can use another item or change the weapon you're using. If there are multiple monsters in location, fight them one at a time. When one is defeated, another steps up to take its place. On the monster's turn, only make one attack check, but add +1 bonus for each additional monster in the room. So much like in martial arts movies, they fight you one at a time. However, the fact that there are others in the room gives them a bonus. That's balanced. That's balanced to me. These are the options you can use during the search phase. You've got a treasure table. This is the format of the exploration table. I'm going to skip the examples. This tells you the background of the adventure. Rather than a completely randomized one, this is actually set in an adventure. Few people travel this far up the Vova River, but those that do find a once prosperous land now fallen on hard times. The farms and hamlets are quiet, the people hollow-cheeked and hungry. The village of Grey Hollow has suffered more than most, its fields barren and livestock starving. Leering over the village like a hungry vulture is the reason you have journeyed here, the ancient Varduk Castle. Once a fine palace, it fell into ruin more than a century ago after its last lord, a brave knight named Casimir Varduk, returned from the Crusades into the Rotlands. Legend holds that he brought back an ancient book he had torn from the clutches of a vile necromancer. That might have been the end of the tale, except Casimir's young wife fell deathly ill. Desperate to save the love of his life, he read the necromancer's book and brought something truly evil into the world. Villagers still speak of that terrible night, where the moon turned red and cries of terror and pain filled the darkness, echoing down the mountain from the castle. When the sun rose, a brave few ventured to the castle and saw the blood run from the windows and entry portals, pooling in grim puddles in the courtyard. No sign of Casimir or his bride have been seen since that night, and the castle has lain abandoned. Since that time, a grim shadow has fallen across the valley. Crops won't grow, and livestock are mysteriously slaughtered in the night. When the moon is at its fullest, cries of rage can be heard from the castle, and the howl of wolves fill the forest. On these nights, the villagers of Grey Hollow lock their doors, shutter their windows, and huddle by the fire until morning. Recently, the cries of pain and rage from the castle have renewed in intensity. As the full moon approaches, the villagers have become increasingly distressed, so sent messages downriver. Though they have little to offer in way of reward, they hope some bold adventurer might enter the castle and put an end to whatever evil lies within. Hold on. And you have heard stories of the so-called Blood Castle from the travelers and other adventurers. Some stories claim that a demon resides in the castle or that Casimir became a dark-hearted necromancer. You suspect the once noble knight has become a vampire, and armed with that knowledge, you have journeyed upriver to the village of Grey Hollow. So, yeah. Oh, it starts with a choose-your-own adventure kind of thing. Okay. Choose your own adventure thing, and then if you don't go immediately to the castle, you immediately get a combat. And then you get the castle itself. The entrance starts like that, and then you explore. And the exploration just gives you a list of rooms. And I believe there's 36 of them. Monster stats are here. Each monster has, like, qualities, which gives it bonuses, just like your traits in the first one give you bonuses. Yeah, okay, this is not a bad thing. Treasure table. Very minor treasure. But that's what's to be expected in these kinds of solo games. Yeah, I'd say this is not a bad game. It's not a bad solo game. It doesn't look too bad. Very simple character sheet. Not as simple as 4 Against Darkness. This is almost suitable to use as a proper, like a proper role-playing game. So slightly more complex than 4 Against Darkness, but you only run one character at a time. Okay, that was Blood Castle, a Dungeon Blitz adventure. And I will post the link here. I am not going to be able to finish all this because my throat's really, really messing with me. Which sucks because I have several I wanted to look at. So I'm instead going to look at 3 more. I'm going to remove 3 and just look at 3 more. One of them is going to be real simple. Crown player rules. Crown is an old school fantasy role-playing game. It comes in 2 versions. It's got a player's guide and a DM's guide. And it looks just like a standard... it just looks like a standard role-playing game. I'm going to get these out just because I want to cover them. This is an OSR one. It uses White Hack, Maze Rats for inspiration. Adventure Conqueror King system, which I need to get that. I need to get that review out. I know. Good for domain management. I'll agree there. Basic fantasy role playing game. I've got that. It's a good system. I've reviewed it before. So this stands on the shoulders of giants. The player rules are free. This is what you use to play the game. It costs a few bucks for the DM thing. So if you like what you see in the player rules, then one of you grab a DM version, you're good to go. It looks like it's a little bit more limited. It looks OSR, but what I'm seeing here, it looks like they take some liberties with it. So you've got like a very 0 edition hit dice progression, attack value, but then you get a more loose kind of feat based ability selection. So you can customize your class with those booms. Hold on a second, I gotta mute something. There we go. So you got to, you can customize your classes with like very feat based stuff. Rest of this stuff just looks like very 0 edition type stuff. It uses slot based encumbrance, just like the alternate rule system I looked at earlier. So yeah, this is the Crown system. I'm not going to look through it all. Very OSR. I'm liking the way it looks. Last 2 are going to be Let me copy this. I'll put a link in the chat. Last 2 are going to be one of them's real simple. It's Hack the RPG. yeah, my IRC disconnected there. Hack the RPG. It's from Bloat Games. Bloat Games has some solid work. I'm out of water. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. I should have got myself some more water. Hack the RPG. is just a rules framework. It's not its own thing. And it's based on, I believe, Black Hack, isn't it? Or, no, it's not. No, it's a Zine Quest thing. So what they did is they developed a zine-based RPG and then pulled the system out of that, stripped it down to the bare minimum, and this is like a standalone generic system that can be used to introduce something. Bloat Games does decent work. This uses 1d20 plus 1d6, which reminds me of Darkest, the Blackest of Deaths system, which is pretty solid. Yeah, this looks like it uses the similar system. It's very OSR, but also very limited in terms of stuff. So I'll put a link to that. It's just a bare bones system that you can build other systems off of. It's pay what you want. Which brings me to the final thing for tonight, before my voice fails. And that is Badass Basic. Badass Basic RPG is free. I'm gonna link it in the chat. And it comes in 6 handouts. There's instructions, which I'm to take a look. It's not an OSR exactly, but it's inspired by thereof. So it's fast, it's simple. There's just the introduction. You got player rules. They're only 2 pages. This is the rules that you use to play. Attributes run from 1 to 20. It looks like it uses OSR style scaling on that. Leveling up is session based. Spellcasting uses actions. Rolling attributes is I don't even know. I do not even know what those attributes do. Once you choose your type and roll, so I guess you... let me take a look. The problem is it is based into 6 different things. Here's your character sheet. Okay, the character sheet kind of fleshes it out. So you pick a type, which gives you a bonus on one particular stat, as well as some options, and then you pick a role, and the roles are kind of like classes. So I guess if you pick like a deadly assassin or an inspiring knight or something. And then the attributes are your basic 6, except not the standard basic 6 because they replace wisdom with perception. Saving throws look very old school. Combat uses ascending AC. Melee attacks use your basic D20 melee attacks. Which brings me back to the basic rules. Yeah, this is very scattered. It looks like I'm looking at the system itself. The system itself looks solid, but the arrangements are not. The arrangement is not. It is only a couple sheets. So here's your DM's rules. Literally only 2, like 1 sheet of paper. Very simplified. It looks like it uses a D6 system. Or no, it's got D20 rolls in it too. It kind of fails on the internal consistency part on that. The good news is that you can get the whole thing with only like a couple pages. The bad news is that it's kind of scattershot. So you have to basically read. Like everything's only like 1 or 2 pages. Like look, there's only 5 levels of spells, and some of them only have 2 spells on them. Arms and equipment. Yeah, it's just 2 pages. So like the whole booklet is only like maybe a dozen pages. It's very old school. It doesn't look complex, but it does look like it needs some rearrangement. I don't know. I think I prefer the crown set, and before that, definitely the demonic tome rules. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me. I got to head off here. Hopefully my voice will be. I'm gonna have to put off my Let's Play. Because I'm gonna start Neverwinter Nights 2 soon. I'm gonna have to put it up for another week because there's no way I can do it like this. I had to do this though because they were building up. I will try to get Indie Game Friday done this week, but I can't promise anything before that. And I've got some old school. I've got some other reviews to do, but I can't record them and edit them like this because I know I looked like I was doing okay here, but I can't do that, man. So hopefully I'll get them out soon. That's all I can say. Thank you guys for watching. Thank everybody who watches this in the future. I appreciate it. Links. I will put links together in a comment after this goes live. But anyway, this has been my quick look. I know a lot of people like watching me do this, so there it is. Until next time, take care and goodbye.